Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to a new video. Today we're going to be continuing with our series summarizing chapters from business management. Today's chapter is 4.3 sales forecasting. This is a high level only chapter, so standard level learners, we'll see you in the next video. This is for high level, and this is a pretty simple one. Really, we're just talking about what sales forecasting and how to do it. So let's get started. So sales forecasting basically is a quantitative method to predict future sales. You're using forecasting techniques, just like, weather forecast predicts the weather. You're predicting what the sales of a company are going to be. This allows for you to have smoother cash flow management, inventory, production, and financing, because you can use these forecasts to then inform business decisions to say, if we think we're going to sell this much, well, let's invest this much. Let's get this much stock. Let's spend on these things. All right. And so there are a variety of methods that you can use. There are 5 main methods that the chapter lays out for sales forecasting. The first is what's known as the 4-point moving average. All right. So what you do with this is you take 4 points in time over the last, year. Typically what you do is you take the last 4 quarters, you average those sales, and you project that average and say, well, we're going to more or less sell this average in the next quarter. It's as simple as that. The idea of this is that it avoids the variations of seasonal changes and things like that, because obviously especially if you sell, let's say, ice cream, you're going to sell more ice cream in summer than in the winter. So the idea of this is that it stabilizes it and means that you can make a projection more or less of, all right, well, we sold this much last year, we're going to sell this much this year. And so you can use that, and you have this moving average, which means that every quarter you pass, all right, well, our average adjusts a bit. So then it's going to be a bit different. And so with this, you're using actual sales figures, all right, using actual previous sales figures, and just kind of projecting that towards the future of saying, all right, well, we're going to follow more or less this average. This can also be done as a 3-point average, although 3-point averages are less accurate. 4-point averages means we're working with more data. The second type of forecasting is known as the time series analysis. So what this does is it identifies a trend line of sales to predict future sales. So basically you see, let's say, over the years from 2012 to 2020, our sales have gone gradually like this. Well, then we're going to kind of, or they've done like these things here, because of course the thing is there's fluctuations, right? You're not just saying, oh, it's a straight line. You're just saying there's fluctuations in what's happening. So you're trying to create as accurate a line as possible, saying, well, we've seen these trends. When these circumstances are in play, this is what tends to happen. So for instance, seasonal fluctuations, you just have random ones. Cyclical fluctuations, which are things like, economic crises and things like that. Also, what are responses to deliberate decisions? So with this, what you can do is you can say, all right, well, when we've spent this much amount on marketing, our sales volume has gone up this amount. So then you can say, all right, accounting for that, we can forecast this. You're taking basically trends from all the different kinds of activities you've done. So this is much more complicated and complete analysis, because what you're doing is you're saying, all right, let's look at all the past events. You're not just making one line. You're making basically a graph like this, saying, all right, in this season, it's going to go down like this. All right, and then let's see, the economy is supposed to go like this, where it's going to go up a bit, and then we're going to, do some new promotions, so it's going to go up a bit more. And then, so you're looking at all the different, trends of things and trying to basically make a line more or less of, all right, this is what it's going to look like over time. And so that's kind of the goal, is to make a trend line of, the different ups and downs that you expect to happen with different events and how it's going to respond. Next is extrapolation. This is one of the most simple ways of doing it, although it's also seen as one of the least accurate, because what you do is you plot your historical data and just say, all right, we're going to continue this trend. So let's say if we started in 2011 and 2020, it's been going up, but we're just going to say it's going to keep going up. We're not going to take into account any kind of other factors that come into account. Let's say there was a dip down here because of whatever, there was a financial crisis or there was something, or we made a bad decision business wise. I'm not going to take that into account. We're just going to say, all right, it's going to keep going up this way. So it is one way to do it, because generally speaking, businesses tend to stay on a trend, but obviously you can't take into account all of that. And let's say maybe there's a future financial crisis coming up. Well, in 2020, there was a future recession coming up. But you're saying, all right, well, in 2020, we're going to be fine. We're just going to keep going up this way. So, but that's what it is you're saying, all right, well, let's look at what the general trend is among all this data and just kind of extrapolate from there and say, we're going to continue in this direction. Continuing. So the next The next fourth method of forecasting is known as the Delphi technique. So what you do with this Delphi technique is you get a panel of experts and you give them a series of questionnaires. Each questionnaire builds off of itself. So you start with just a basic one, and then based on what the responses are, you give them more. And the idea is that these are independent experts who are then going to be able to give you some insight on what they think the future of the company will be. And you can kind of probe with these questionnaires to get certain information. And then they give this information to the company, and it's done normally anonymously. So that way, if they say, oh, you're going to have bad sales, they don't have to worry that, oh, the company will be mad at them for saying that. They're saying their honest reasoning, and they're giving explanations for why. So this is trying to basically base it off of, well, expert knowledge. The final one is market research. Market research is you look at identify trends, external changes in the market, and look at how those are going to impact your sales, and then you combine those with what are the internal things of your business, and seeing, all right, so how are external things, how are changes in the market going to impact our sales revenue, and take that into account. And with that, guys, that is the end of this chapter. So I hope you guys have all enjoyed, have taken something out of this video. If you have any questions, do leave them down below. I'm happy to answer. And if you guys need more information, also, I suggest you guys just Google these. There's a lot of information online about them. So they're not too complicated. It's just you guys got to know these in case they come up in an exam. Well, this has all been understandable and enjoyable for y'all. Thank you for watching, and the best of luck with the rest of your studies. See you later.